consultation there. And then if there's any place in particular that you guys would like us to come, let me know. Again, this is just the initial consultation, but if there's like a big, we want, you definitely know, we want more than one counselor, we want 4 Māori wards. If there's a really hard line that your or your community is taking, let us know sooner rather than later, and I'm happy to take that offline. There's pretty purple pamphlets and posters. There's English and Te Reo Māori versions. Is there places out in your communities that you'd like to put people?
Yep. Morena tātou. Welcome to everybody to our first meeting for the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board for 2024. We'll start with karakia, please. Tō mātinga kapi ngā kanohi me noi tātou. Hau hiki, hau rārangi, hau te whakairo, hau te tangata, hau ki aroha, te pau e here nei a tātou, mauri ora ki a tātou, hau me e, hui e, ki e. Kia ora everybody, welcome to our members of the Community Board and to Whanau District Council staff, to new staff that have joined Whanau District Council over the last little while, and to our public that are here to have a kōrero with us this morning. Nau mai, ki te tauhou Pākehā. I believe today, Maurice told me that it's tamatia a ngana, and it's a bad day for planting or fishing, so just a word of caution.
Over here.
Yeah, no planting. So we'll start this morning just by reminding everybody that our deputations and public forum speakers and funding application speakers get 5 minutes to speak only, and Imre will give you a little bit of an indication when you're close to finishing there, close to your 5 minutes, and then if any members have any questions for you, they will follow. Ka pai? All right, so we welcome this morning to Public Forum, Linda Bracken, who's our chairperson of the Kaikohe Business Association. Kia ora, Linda.
Kia ora.
Hei a koe. And you're welcome to come and sit with us at the table. Don't need to stand.
Vice Chair, that's okay. Same. Yeah, good morning. Just a quick update from me. Still trying to find somebody in a voluntary capacity to assist with dealing with the graffiti around town. I'll talk to the police and need to follow up. There's one particular graffiti artist, if we call it, who I even saw out on the Manunu Wharf. He's left his tag on the wharf out there. So it's not just Kaikohe, he's doing regional tagging. Hence the question to the police, is there some other activity associated with it? So follow up on that, but needing a volunteer or maybe needing to look at a different way of getting people to reduce the presence and of course deal with the attitude. Roading and speed humps, so I live out the west end, so off Marbury Road, so there's still that presence of bikes and cars, and I see applications for humps and that, so yeah, needed in a big way. Just welcoming Scarlett, who is our secretary on the group as well. Exciting thing for us is with our Kaikohe Business Association, we've actually got a stronger contingency on board as a committee with new life coming in to address the issues, and we're trying to focus more on business, but still aware there needs to be some presence in looking at community issues. One thing that has been raised more on social media is the entrance to Kaikohe, and can we do anything to unify it? I know it's been discussed in different areas. We have just temporarily repaired our board out the east end entry there that was obviously damaged by a car, but that's more focused on advertising businesses and the overall welcome to Kaikohe. So yeah, that's it for me this morning. Thank you.
Kia ora, Linda, thank you. What ways can we help with the graffiti volunteer? Is there anything we can do, or?
We get lots of people who say yes, I'll help, but the words aren't followed with actions. I'm going to talk to John and see if we could get a group to help us reduce, like...
Is there such a thing still as PD workers?
PD workers don't tend to do the signs. So we're trying to work with a different way with guys who are associated with corrections. So that area there. But even thinking it's getting somebody other than myself who can spearhead the coordination. So I've been limited with my. So yeah.
Any further questions for Linda? No. Thank you, Linda. Thank you for the work that you're doing and following up on things. I agree with the entrance to Kaikohe, as I do with the entrance to lots of our little towns around. It's just as well the people in them are awesome, because if I looked at some of the sites, I'd do a U-turn.
Yes.
But when you come into our little places and you meet the people, you change your mind about the ugly signs at our entrances to our places, I feel.
Can I add just one little positive feedback? The All Heart Shop for Valentine's Day, for 3 days before, we'd inherited a big heart that we painted red, and we asked the community to aroha, to share some positive messages about town. So that was good. So 3 days out on the street, now back in the shop for a little while so that they can read what others have shared. Yeah,
Thank you.
so here is good.
Thanks, Linda. Morena, Mr. Riley, did you want some time in public forum, Mr. Riley?
Yep.
Nice to see you. Welcome back.
Number of things. I've had a complaint, the approach to the town needs tidying up. The road is a disgrace. It needs attention, and sometimes I wonder whether we do get any street maintenance. I can remember 50 years ago, 2 people used to sweep the main street every morning before somebody got to work. It happens very seldom now. And go along with that, a contract to mow the verge side berms on the side of the road, of Thorpe Road, does exist. It's not being upheld or maintained. There's a strip you just go over the railway line that's straight in front of you before you go into the waste station. Hasn't been mowed for a long, long time. There is no reason why it can't be mowed to the extent that it should be. And the other day, the mower went down there and neglected to do the whole length of Thorpe Road. And while they're about it, the road the seal used to stop just before the apple tree. Yeah, the road's been sealed. Why can't that continue to the corner? It would give the whole place a nice tidy look about it. It's something that's been neglected, can be attended. People who come to our town, the first thing they notice is what the streets are like. And if the streets are clean and tidy, and the gutters, when you see vegetation growing in the gutter, the concrete gutter, and it gets to that stage, that means a long, long neglect. That doesn't grow overnight. We have a great asset in our cycle trail. Why can't it be diverted to NAFA? Take in NAFA, and while we're on the subject of NAFA, that organisation has had over $7 million given to it from the government and Top Energy, and everything laid out in their favour. Going to NAFA by appointment is simply not good enough. That practice has got to stop. The quality of water in NAFA exists in Belgium at a resort there, very similar. They have 156,000 visitors a year. The same can happen here. We have a unique potential to attract people from the cruise ships that come into the bay. They've got to fill in a day somehow. We've got probably the best asset in town in our Pioneer Village. And William, he did get a little bit of support. I know he runs backs up, but his concept of a Maori fighting pa in a village has a lot to commend it as an attraction to bring people here. A fighting pa need not necessarily detract from anything, because all it is a row of stakes all around, and the top half of the peninsula that overlooks the village has more than 3 feet of clay on top of it, above everything else, because at that stage, all the water that drained off the top of the dump had to go that way. So they built it high so that it did go that way. That gives the top of the dump a very, very secure cap. And in the process, if we could bring visitors here, the whole town would prosper. It's just simple little things, concepts that can be built on and taken to a stage further, and something really big can come out of it. Really, I know rubs people's backs up, but if we were dealing with somebody other than Willie, the project could go ahead and everybody would be quite happy. I think that we have a lot to commend our town for. We just aren't making the most of our talents. And if that appointment to go to NAPA is simply not good enough. That has to be taken head on and quickly, because it's a detraction. By what we could get a cycle trail to divert and take in NAPA, I think everybody would benefit mightily from it. That's enough now.
Thanks, Mr. Riley.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from Mr. Riley? No, thanks, Mr. Riley. Oh, deputations. Okay, moving on to our deputations, we have Scarlett Mukaraka representing He Korowai o Kaikohe-Hokianga in regard to forming a strategic relationship with the Far North District Council for their project. Kia ora, Scarlett.
Kia ora. Ko Scarlett Mukaraka tuku ingoa no Kaikohe-Ho. I'm yeah. So I'm Scarlett Mukaraka. I'm a mother of 4. I live here in Kaikohe. Moved here from Waitakere 5 years ago, and have whakapapa down to Squires Lane corner, through Alpo whakapapa down there. I support Ngāti Whakaeke Hapu as our wastewater working group member with council, so I have a strategic relationship there already, and I'm here as He Korowai o Kaikohe-Hokianga, which is a sort of community model that we're driving. We're established on the basis that we have knowledge and have identified the significant housing developments coming into the town, and noting the high complex needs of many of those that will be participating in those housing developments, and noting that our infrastructure isn't equipped to deal with the numbers that we are facing. We started by hosting an event last year, which was mainly to connect our suppliers and service providers so that they are better equipped to start collaborating and connecting with each other. And what's grown out of that is a community, sort of loose community development model that's been built on a number of key previous pieces that both I and other members have supported and built, including the Kaikohe Community Stocktake, which was developed with Laurel Bellworthy, who was the Community Board Advisor here. We also have members of Ngā Hapu Kaikohe in that group, as well as our suppliers and service providers. And the main, I think, point of difference that our group is presenting is that we decided that we wanted to be wants driven, not needs based. So we see, especially the housing and infrastructure development in the town, as potentially our pipeline for building our local economy for the next 3 to 5 years. But when we're constantly reacting to the needs of our whānau, and that's where everyone's energy is going, we can't see that ahead. So this group has been formulated to bring everyone together, get them working together as a regular practice and behaviour. So we are not the connectors. We started from the start saying that it is their responsibility to be working together. It is not our job to make sure that happens as a community. We had 45 presenters at our first event over a day that was themed across, we had themes of business, industry and economy. We had town and built and natural environments day, and we had a service providers day. And so that was very, very well engaged. We had over 200 participants. We were glad to get support from the community board for that event. And our next step is to, one, grow the Kaikohe story, because we know that that's going to be the basis of any strong community aspirational development plan or community development plan that we are able to design. And two, we are looking essentially upward and outward. He Koroai o Kaikohe is not designed to do the work in the community that needs doing. We are creating the space that allows people to connect with each other and work collaboratively, but we are not the drivers of that. But what we do note as well is that one of the biggest risks and challenges to what we're doing is external factors constantly entering Kaikohe without a single point of entry. So we believe that until such a point that, for example, the Kaikohe Leadership Group that was supported in its development by the Community Board Advisor, Laurel Balworthy, until such a point that that is re-engaged, because a big issue was that, well, not issue, something that happened with that was that it's fallen by the wayside. There was a lot of engagement, a lot of time and energy and resource spent in that, and it was, I believe it was well engaged, but as soon as there's not someone to drive it with the skills and capacity, obviously it doesn't go anywhere else. So we believe there's still value in pieces of work like that. And we believe that we can hold the space for those groups to move forward. And what we're here is to ask council for our community board members for a strategic relationship. We are focused on, so we've been engaging with MPs. Grant McCullum was one of the highlight attendees of our event, very well engaged. And yeah, so we're here to ask for a strategic partnership, I would say, to be able to access. We are two people just trying to create something and to have access to council support, administration. I note attending the Right for Life meeting with a number of democracy services support members here. You know, things like that would really make a difference. We are focusing on telling our stories. So one of the big assets that we got out of the Kaikohe Wastewater Group was our video with council, our partnership video that you guys produced. So those are really key pieces of assets that would actually help us to be able to go and find external investment into the region and into the kaupapa. And in a way that can be, I guess you can be confident that it's actually going to gain and continue to grow, gain momentum and continue to grow, and also that as being as engaged as possible with our community and key stakeholders. Kia ora.
Thanks, Scarlett. Any part-time for Scarlett from anyone? Yes.
That sounds amazing, and there is some process around whether it's a committee or a working group, which is probably more clear to these beautiful staff members, but I support the concept. Yeah. So I think that's probably what each town actually kind of needs, is some people who are bringing forward to pull those ideas and look at directions and so on. So
yeah, and also just to note, it was also taken, the concept was has been developed as well as part of Kaikohe-Hokianga, which is an education specific working group. So just noting that we do understand the need is not just Kaikohe based, but we do believe that Kaikohe is going to be the significant game changer, I guess, to be able to make sure those effects ripple out.
Yeah, I enjoyed your kōrero, Scarlett. Just a couple of questions from me. You mentioned where, and then you mentioned two. Are there just two people who are part of the
So
at the moment?
Lisa Brophy and I are the main sort of, kaimahi in terms of developing everything. I obviously have a team of administrators behind me as part of my company.
Yes.
But other than that, the service list is growing.
Lovely. And the high complex needs of whānau that are moving into those properties in up by mid-north, I guess, or the old mid-north. Are you privy to knowing who's...
So we've had comments and feedback. We did all of our investigation on public information because I personally have been trying to engage in the housing space for a year and have sort of made some traction. But what we found was that when you put out a public statement about stuff, everyone's quite quick to correct you, which is good. You know, that's what we want. We want information. So in terms of the high complex needs, there's some feedback that we've had is that they are people already in the community. But what we aren't clear on is what are the processes to measure evidence of that? How do we actually understand and how do we know that that's true? Because we know that the community housing register doesn't provide those mechanisms to be able to limit it.
All right. No further questions? Thanks, Scarlett.
Yeah.
Right, we have our next deputation is Wally Hicks, and Wally is online with us from Kaikohe-Hokianga, and his kōrero this morning is around the speed signs, urgent review of speed signs. Wally.
Entity called Kaikohe Heritage Precinct. Are you receiving me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The Kaikohe Heritage Precinct is a sort of like a legal entity. It's gazetted in the district plan, etc., and I want to let you know that there's been a terrible outbreak of speed signs in Kaikohe. So on the subject of signs and town entrances and town stories, which Heritage Precinct is constantly trying to tell, there's now a proliferation of speed signs in the town, and they're all formed in the form of gateways on either side of tiny lanes going off of the main road and on the main road. And I'm here to speak as one of the last remaining survivors of the visioning processes that have happened twice in Kaikohe, 2008 and 2018. The last one resulting in a document called Tirahana Vision Kaikohe, which has a whole section in it. One of its 5 sections is the heritage and the maintenance and of the Heritage Precinct. And one of the principal things about the Heritage Precinct is its aesthetic, is for it not to be visually polluted with signs. Another of the sort of bizarre things about these signs is that recently the new school zone signs have appeared. And the school zone signs have been placed back where the original school zone signs were in 2013, I think, or 2014, 10 years ago anyway, roughly. In the middle of, at one end, in the middle of gardens that we especially had built into the road in order to narrow it as much as we were allowed to during the road rehabilitation. And they're either side of the road and gateways, and this has actually reduced the area of the school zone, and which no longer protects the central business district of Kaikohe, the downtown area, where arguably students from schools, it's the only place where they are in danger, because that's where they get on and off the school buses. The area behind, the area where the main school gate is, which is in Old Beach Road, I'll put up a, this should result in you seeing an aerial view. So here's one of our favourite places, the Kaikohe Town Hall and the bowling club. Here is the gateway school zone signs I'm talking about, top left. And so this now tells you that you can speed up at this point, and this point where Image 003PNG is, outside the library and further along outside the shop, this is where children get on and off school buses. So arguably this is where they need to be protected by a school zone. Now, when the original school zones signs got put in here, Pauline Evans and I, who also has an RFS in along with mine, had the school zone extended way down here, past the pub, at the pub main door, and we also had one of the signs removed because of the visual pollution that's caused by them. There are signs at the entrances and exits of each of these roads, and there are two RFSs, my own 4161130 and Pauline Evans' recent one 1241 about asking for a review of this, and basically the removal of one of each of these signs at least. But the interesting thing is that another RFS placed by a resident of Old Beach Road, 4162957, way back in June last year, has actually been addressed, and one of each of the signs in Old Beach Road, down here, bottom left, has been removed. So it would appear as though there isn't any problem about removing the signs. The big issue here I would like to address before I finish is that we have two, not one but two community plans, and each of these community plans require a bunch of people to spend 1 day a week for 18 months meeting and writing them up and doing all that sort of thing. And frankly, if Far North District Council and NTA, Northland Transportation Alliance, and probably Waka Kotahi as well, had only consulted with us, we could have saved everybody half of this money, and a lot of the time in putting these signs up and taking them down, and the things that really need to be done to protect one of the most important things about this town in terms of everything you can imagine. The reason people come and live here, property values, is that it is a designated heritage precinct. So myself and Pauline Evans are both requesting urgent review of these signs and addressing their impact on the heritage precinct, which is such an important part of Kaikohe's existence. Yes, thank you. Thanks for listening to me.
Wally, and thank you for the emails from yourself and other members of the Kaikohe community highlighting the speed sign issue. Have you had any communication from Elizabeth Stacey? I understand that Elizabeth was going to try and make contact with you.
Have had an email. Imri has forwarded an email, but I have to say that I can't quite make sense of it. And I've requested a telephone conversation with Elizabeth about it, because I'm not sure whether she's saying that NTA are going to contest this, or whether they're going to address it by going along with it. One positive note is that they appear to have addressed it by going along with it on Old Beach Road alone, based on one resident's RFS. So there's some hope in that, I suppose. One of the things about the Old Beach Road resolution is that they've left the outside speed sign at one end of Old Beach Road, which is the one that actually obstructs your view of the coast and the water. There's a brief glimpse of the actual water in that place, at that place, and it's unfortunate that they have taken away the inland sign and left the outside one there.
Okay, thank you, Wally. We've got the RFS numbers and we can follow up on that today and talk to Elizabeth. I'm not sure that she's in a position to ring everybody that makes an RFS about road signs, but we'll make sure that we get some answers for you. So thank you, Wally. Any further questions from any members? Thank you, Wally. Nice to see you online. Thank you. So that's the end of deputations. I think we'll move into apologies. Sorry, I forgot that after Karakia. So we have apologies from Councillor Vucic, Councillor Kappa and Member Tania Felia. I'll move that those apologies.
And Trinity.
Oh, and Trinity. She's online, but she's attending virtually. So I'll move that those apologies be accepted. Thank you, Member McVeigh, and I'll second that. All those in favour? Any against? Thank you. Carried. So we move now into our speakers, and welcome to our speakers, and thank you for your patience. I hope you've had a little bit of time to have a think about what you're going to have a talk to us about. So we're going to start online. Is Charlotte online? Yes, there's Charlotte in a pretty blue top. Kia ora, Charlotte. Charlotte Nightingale representing Glass Ceiling Collective. All yours, Charlotte. Just have a test run. You might need to turn your mic on.
Muted, but no, we can't hear.
We'll get there. Maybe. No, not yet.
She's deaf. You've muted yourself again.
Have you muted yourself again?
No, she's unmuted.
Oh, dreads. Okay, that's the way. Call for assistance.
Yeah, she's got a teenager with her.
Oh,
That'll be fine.
oh, I see a bar.
Oh, she's got two.
Maybe that's the problem.
Technology.
Exit re-enter.
Very annoying. And she's very that's right.
Colin, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Hooray! Morena. I apologise if it's a little bit loud here. We're just about to start rehearsal, but I'm from Glass Ceiling Arts Collective, and we are an organisation that make multisensory theatre for people with profound and multiple learning disabilities, people with high and complex needs, people with high sensory needs, so also people who are autistic with high needs. And essentially what this theatre production is, which we've applied for funding to you for, is a production called Spark Live. It's performed and created by a group of disabled and non-disabled people, and it's touring Northland and coming to Kaikohe Memorial Hall and the RSC at Opanoni So we're really excited to be coming to your region. It's one of my favourite places to go in the summer. So yeah, super excited. Essentially, what this production is it's like a play, but at various moments in the play, we break into multisensory exploration with our audience members. So that might be having something to touch or to taste or see or hear. And that is so that audience members with profound disabilities are enabled to able to connect with the storyline in their own unique individual way. It's a production that we encourage people to come to with their whānau. We know that that actually productions like this, we're actually one of 2 organisations that make full-scale theatre productions across Aotearoa for this community in multisensory theatre. So it's a really great opportunity for people to come together and enjoy something as a family unit or a caregiving unit. Often people with disabilities can be put, for example, if they're going to a sports game, can often be in a completely separate area from their whānau. So this is really about coming together and experiencing something as a collective. Our show is highly accessible. We use New Zealand Sign Language throughout it, as well as having our multisensory storyscape, and also our audience, our performers are a group of disabled and non-disabled people. So as a disabled person, your life is reflected in what you see. We had opened the production across Tamaki Makaurau in August last year, and it sold out within 3 days. And we had to put on extra performances because there is a real lack of this kind of arts experiences for people with profound disabilities. So we know that we have an audience for this work. Glass Ceiling Arts Collective does a lot of work in Whangarei and also in Hikarangi, and our programs are full and have been full since the outset. So we know that there is an audience. We work with disability support groups across Aotearoa, and this particular production was funded partly through Arts Access Aotearoa, as well as the IHC Foundation. Because of the community we work with. So we actually go into special schools, we connect with disability networks, places like Spectrum Care, Autism New Zealand, Life Homes, local disability support groups as well, to get the word out there. But we're really excited to be bringing this to your region, and we make it so that it's highly accessible financially and geographically, which is why we tour it around to small places where people can get to, where it's really easy for people to come to. And also our ticket prices are kept really low, so they're $15 for a ticket, and caregivers are free. And if somebody comes to us and says, actually, that's still not accessible for us, then we let people come for free as well. We're all about getting this to the community. Yeah. So yeah, welcome any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Charlotte. Any questions from anyone? I can't remember whether you've recorded the dates that are they in your application for when you were in the north? Yeah.
Yes, yeah. All the dates are in the application.
And so how will you advertise that across our community, our Kaikohe-Hokianga communities?
So all our comms is going out this week, and all tickets can be got through Humanitics, but actually it's through our mainly through our disability networks. So we work with both national networks, like, for example, CP Society, Autism New Zealand, places like that, Disability Connect, but also then we target specific disability groups in your area. And I've actually our administrator is working on that today to get all the comms out. But also we go to supported living. So that might be residential aged care facilities, places like Spectrum care homes, life homes, places like that. So going specific, we work a lot with Spectrum care homes across all our youth programs and youth and community programs and life homes. So those kind of places we go to specifically. We also target, I used to be a SENCO, so I go to, learning support managers, special education needs coordinators, also to your sort of regional meetings. Like I go to those specifically to learning support in the area, Ministry of Education, and get stuff out too. So we're tapped into that network. That's what we do. That's we also have stuff on social media. The normal way that we would do things, we have social media adverts, we put stuff on local pages, but we're good at getting our audiences because we know this is an audience that we work with all the time. So we like to have smallish audiences, but we know that we'll get the audiences there.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much for your presentation today. Lots of enthusiasm, cool story. And one question, young and old go to the show.
Yeah, so it's actually for age 10 plus. So it's specifically, we found that actually the feedback that we've had over the years is that actually adults, it's quite difficult, when you're in school. I know this is in my previous role, it's quite difficult when you have the transition out of school to find stuff to do. So that's why this is specifically for 10 plus, so that actually it's not, a children's show necessarily, that it's really good for teenagers up into adulthood, that the story is a...
Thank you. Awesome. Well done. We look forward to viewing that application shortly. Next, we have another online with Hayley Koroi, who is here representing Toi Tangata Te Hotu Manawa Māori.
Kia ora.
Hayley. Kia ora, Hayley.
Kia ora. Tēnā tātou. My name is Hayley Koroi. My partner and I live in Omapere in the Hokianga, where she is from. I also have whakapapa to Te Popoto, which is in the Utakura area, Horeke. But I work for a Māori national public health organisation called Toi Tangata, and we deliver kaupapa hauora, or health initiatives relating to kai and movement, across Aotearoa, supporting whānau Māori to be well. In 2022, we co-hosted a wānanga ngā kai a te Māori, so at Waikato with Joe McLeod. So Waikato is on the west coast of the far north, just before the Waipoua forest. So Joe, who's mentioned in the application, is of Tūhoe descent and a chef of 50 years and one of the foremost experts, I would say, in the native foods of Aotearoa. His wānanga consists of 3 days of gathering various kai, naming them, weaving rauharakeke, so baskets, pairing various native forest, like foods from the forest with different proteins, and cooking those kai in an umu or hangi on the last day, which is te hākari whakateha, which is when the wānanga is open to the wider community to come along and all eat together and share in all of the foods that have been gathered throughout the 3 days. Throughout the wānanga, Joe's team also does the catering for the wānanga, which hopes to incorporate the kai Māori into the food preparations so that it's, and this is something that's changed since Joe came in 2022, so that our whānau can try to develop a relationship with kai Māori that doesn't rely on having a hangi, because obviously that doesn't happen that often, but can actually think about and consider what it might look like to incorporate Kai Māori every day. So it's a very intensive, practical 3-day learning environment. And what we hope is that it will spark a curiosity again within marae and Hokianga and the wider community regarding the possible role of Kai Māori in our everyday lives. And in turn, create more of a material connection to the environment than the one that I think we currently have, which is more around kind of the luxury of like being in relation with the environment as opposed to like a material connection that we have with our environments and what that calls us to think about in terms of our role as guardians and kaitiaki. So we've been doing a lot of work with Joe to get Joe back to the north to share his knowledge with more marae, and that was something that was specifically asked following the 2022 wānanga. So from March to April, which is very soon, he'll be coming back to the north and doing a series of stops at 3 various marae. So Omanaia, Te Piti marae, and Whaingaroa he'll be going to Te Pātunga, and just outside of Kaitaia he'll be at Te Uriohina. So yeah, this application specifically is for the wānanga at Te Piti, and we're co-hosting that alongside our friends that are from there, Dallas King and also Matua Rao, Rereata Mākiha. So I've been to the last 2 board meetings for Te Hiku and Whaingaroa, and we've actually been successful for a large portion of the amount that we've been requested, and so the outstanding at the moment is only 1,600 of the 5,000 that was originally put in the application. Yeah, I don't have much else to add to that, but kia ora.
Kia ora. Really nice kōrero, Hayley. Any pātai, kia whenus?
Kia ora, sounds amazing, Hayley. I just wondered if you have a huge amount of people wanting to do it, how you select your participants. Is it first come, first serve, or is there another way that you're looking at doing that? Or is there a number of people, I imagine?
Things. One, there's a cap of 100 for each wānanga, just because in terms of safety and like the efficacy of facilitating that many people. Yeah, Joe's found that 100 is the higher limit. 2 is that there is a priority audience, and that is marae first, and then so the actual marae will be hosted at, and then the wider marae within the area. And then after that, obviously, the far north and then the general public. And the other thing is like that's also why we had 3 wānanga, so that it can give people like various dates and options that they can hopefully be available for. If they can't make a certain date, they can hopefully make one the following week or the following month.
Any further? Carl. Thank you, Hayley. Thank you for your time and your kōrero this morning. And I just want to mention the koroi whānau, I forgot to mention, and now I'm karakia Te Kuini o Horeke Wānapuru, who passed away recently. You reminded me of her. So yeah, big mihi to that whānau and to the Horeke Utukura community. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Right, so moving on to our next speaker. Do we have Janine Smith here? Janie Smith. Oh, kia ora, Janie, representing Hui Waiata Toi o Hokianga.
Kia ora.
Kaikohe. Awesome.
Kia ora koutou. Ko Janie Smith tōku inga. Yeah, we and Emily Hobson. We are Hui Waiata Toi o Hokianga. We're a new project in Hokianga. We are proposing a small festival in Rapani and asking for your support. The festival is promoting Toi Māori, and we're hoping to create a new platform for Toi Māori and for our artists we actually live in a very small community, and as you know, 10 hapori surround that community. Post Cyclone Gabriel and post-COVID, we believe that our communities have been struggling quite a lot, and it is seen on the ground. We know that a lot of our community is made up of Toi Māori artists and other artists and people who are creatives, and they are actually trying to survive with their arts. So we spoke about wanting to have a platform for these artists, and this is how this came about. We're very diverse. We've included every part of community, such as our kura. We've asked our kura to be a part of it, our queer kaumātua, and Toi Māori artists, rāranga artists, spoken word artists, and have tried to involve everybody, and hoping to bring some energy into our town and back to our people, so that we can create something new for Rawene. And also we also spoke about with our musicians that there isn't many platforms for our musicians as far as like diversity and genre. So because a lot of the musicians, we do have a festival which is a fantastic country and music festival in Hokianga, but we don't have another festival for the other artists. And there is a lot of other artists in the Hokianga, and they have wanted to have a space where they can perform and share their arts. So it's on March the 1st and 2nd. We're pretty much well along the way to planning and organising the festival, and just needing to actually pull it together. Emily? Yeah.
Nā mahi ki te atua nānahi homoina ni tau. Nā mahi ki a rātou e tāhuri ki te pō, ma te atu e manaaki e te aki. I te korowai aroha. Nā mahi ki a koe te kaikarakia e puari e tātou hui te rānei. Nā mahi ki ngā whaia, nā matua, nā tuapana, nā taina. He uri tēnei o nā te tautahi me nai tawaki. Te rānei, tuana au ki te tautoko te kaputi. Kia ora tātou. Kia ora. I am someone who grew up as a child in Ngā Puna Waihanga. So that was a gathering of artists, musicians, from Māori artists and musicians that came together every 2 years from all over the country. My mum was a poet, and so she dragged us along. At first it was like, oh no. But then as we got older and saw the weavers, the carvers, the performers, the fashion designs and everything that was opened our eyes to Te Ao Māori, it just was a part of my future, really, my career. I'm a weaver. I've been a weaver for over 30 years. And I have worked with some of the old guns from Rotorua right up to Kaitaia. And so I've been in my 30 years of weaving, I've become a base mainly on puma. We're doing events, we're doing flowers for the marae, and then I suppose we can become isolated if we're not like in groups of weavers or performing as artists, or so we in this event we want to just bring out what the talents are around us. We've got so many people that have been in isolation because of COVID and all that, so it's now we don't even know what we've got anymore. But if everyone came out and we could see what we've got in our communities, because we have so much talent, it would just be nice to come together and celebrate that. So we've been working towards it. It's kind of like anything that happens in Hokianga is an event. We're running on a smell of a really. We're relying on voluntary efforts, all the everything, and like so. I guess I'm in charge of getting together the different artists with the weavers, also doing a fashion show. We have a collection from Olive Platt, who lived to be 106 and lived in our community. And so like her collection of clothing is 50s, 60s, 70s for the 80s. And so we want to have it all steam cleaned and all that, but we want to show that for her just as acknowledgement. We've got different potters, we've got stoneworkers, we've got rogoa. We're going to have Koma to Akuia having cups of teas all the time and just providing space for them. Hopefully we're just waiting on a reply to have Peel come and do Koma to Akuia resilience. Also building awesome farmers. We've got different people in our communities who need to be promoted for what they're doing in the communities. So we're providing an open platform for them. There's always a lot of small hidden costs and a lot of things that we're running on as volunteers. We want to be able to just provide koha, really, so and maybe petrol vouchers or a bit of pie so that people can attend, because then you know that people, if you need to do, this is just our first year and we want to continue. If we can't give to our volunteers, they're not going to be interested in coming back again. Kia ora mai tātou.
Kia ora. Any part-time? I just have one. I was just trying to find what the location says Rawene-Hokianga, but where exactly in Rawene-Hokianga?
Centred around town in the town square.
In the town square, but also some of
Square. Where's the square?
next to Rad. Next to the Rad.
Next to the
Centre.
Oh,
in the council.
yes.
And some of the spoken word artists are going to be down in the venues. So the Boathouse will have artists and the Number One will have artists. We're trying to actually include the rest
all
of
the
our
street. The car park and across the road behind the pub. Just the whole
space.
Papai, good kōrero, ladies. Thank you very much for your time and your application. Our next speaker today from Man vs Wild, Brian Vesey and Wally Te Huia. Your 5 minutes.
This morning, thank you for having us. I'm here on behalf of Man vs Wild Fishing. I just want to thank you to the board for the funding that you've given us over the last 2 or 3 years. It's been awesome. So we come together as reaching out to men in our communities in the far north. We do it around the means of a fishing camp, which men love to do. So it's bringing us together. And, so this year we're heading into the Hokianga. After many years, the last 7 years, we've been going to Wainui at Matai Bay, which the Wainui Centre, it's chicken nose, it's burnt down, so we're going to Hokianga to Kaikohe-Hokianga marae. So our men come from all over the far north, from Whangarei, up past Huru, the Hokianga, Mariwa, Kaikohe, of course. We're a collective group of enthusiastic men that like to come together. There's about 40 of us. So we have our mental health men from our communities come along, which is really cool. And last year we actually had the privilege of having our release prisoners come along last year. It was about 6 of them on the recovery hub. It was awesome having them along. Some of those boys had never known life outside the gang life. Totally tattooed up. One of the guys never caught a fish before. So it was building, it's all about building relationships We have a focus on violence, men and violence around our whānau, around our workplaces, in our communities. So we have speakers that speak over the weekend, that share their story. They've come out of prisons themselves, or they're just local elders of communities, men, fathers, grandfathers, just sharing their stories of how they've coped with family violence. This year we're inviting fathers to bring their 16-year-old sons along with them, because we do have an age group from 18 up. So this year we just want to be able to, fathers, if they have a 16-year-old son, come along and join us. Yeah, so we did witness with the Recovery Hub boys a reconciliation between a father and his two sons. So that was just so awesome to see. And so there's been some really positive outcomes to the camp. Once again, thank you, and hand it over to Wally.
I think thank you very much for your, just your support. If I was to add anything, I think, fishing is fishing. We have a lot of that now, and a lot of groups that fish in the bigger scene. But for us, I think the draw card is just about healing and restoration about our men and our young people. If you don't know me, I work with Youth at Risk for the New Zealand Police, and we're just trying to incorporate something here. We did have a bit of a meeting about maybe doing something new too, Kaikohe and other areas. I ran a youth camp last year for 3 days, and they gave me the thought of men and youth sort of trying to come together. So with the invitation of young people, it could be something that could, supersede into something a little bit a higher level type relationship building. Because mine is around Toyota, which is health and well-being for the young people, because I mentor the kids in the high schools in Kaikohe. And I know that looking at the bigger picture, we could actually do something there, hence the reason we're just trying to build on resources. We're on the start. Thank you for the office. That's where we're at. So there's still a lot of feeding along the way, but I guess with more people, we want to build leadership. So we're trying to get young people to come on board, because I'm not getting any younger. And so anyway, I'll leave it there. So we want to build that leadership within young people to actually carry it on and into the next generation, into the future of other young people. Not only the mid-north, but we've got already 10 from Pāngarei that are coming with the young person, a father and son. So there you go.
Thank you, and thanks for the work that you do in our communities. Well done. And yes, wino is a very touchy sore subject still, and seeing those photos. Yeah, very sad. But thanks for the work we do. Any questions, Mike?
Yeah, on the last page of your pamphlet, you say this will be a great camp with good giveaway prizes. So I'm going to ask, what are the giveaway prizes and why are the giveaway prizes?
We have a lot of games, like icebreaker games, that we do during the evenings. And that's just they're coming together. So all those games have prizes associated with them. So we just love the giving away factor. There's nothing like giving. Because, I mean, they don't there to receive anything, but the giving is just a special part of it.
But they're not the giving, right? You're the giving.
We're giving.
Yeah, so it's special for you and you're the organisers. I get that. That's right. So this is about you making you feel good. That's cool. And what are the prizes?
What are the prizes?
Yeah.
Fishing rods, fishing gear, T-shirts.
Cool. Okay.
Anything that's donated, we receive donations. We have a fishing competition on Saturday, which that's prizes.
All right. Bye. Limit Bay.
I love the kaupapa. I love what you're doing and what it brings and the purpose of it. I think that's absolutely awesome. I just have a couple of just technical comments just about the application. And so I'm not sure if you're aware, in your application you actually asked for a higher cost than the cost of what you said it was going to cost. So just to bring, I don't know how that happened, but also just to be really aware that under our requirements, we can actually only fund up to 50% of the costs. And so to be really mindful of that when you're putting your applications in, because that's what we have to look at. So just to be aware of that, and that I think the kaupapa is really amazing, and there will be other sources who will want to support you, and I really encourage you to look at outside as well. I think it's amazing. So
Can I just stop for that?
yeah.
Still learning. I'm no expert, but I guess we're just trying to make that documentation legit too, you know, to make sure that we've covered all the areas that we need. I think the reason for that, and I actually, I've got amendment copies here, if you want to see it, it's to the fact that when we put our application in last year, which you accepted, and we didn't get the application until just before the camp. So it's written here that the church in Oppenani actually provided us with the money that we needed until the funds come through. So it was just a little bit of a rush because we wanted to make sure that we have time, if it's been approved, that we're able to do our shopping. That, you know, to provide the finances provided so we actually get the resources we needed. So that's no excuse, but that's the reason.
That's how it happened.
Yeah, it's just
Like,
it's a little bit late, yeah.
Awesome.
So we reimbursed, when you gave us the finance, we reimbursed the church. So they were happy to come in and donate.
Thank you. Thank you very much, both of you. Our last speaker for today is Melissa Williams, representing all Kaikohe whānau House. Kia ora, Melissa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No.
She hasn't appeared. Okay, that's a shame, but never mind. Oh. Two. So that's the end of our speakers. Now moving into page 8. Where's that? Yeah, yes. Page 8. Okay, so on page 8 we have confirmation of previous minutes. The recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board confirms the minutes of the meeting held 13th of December 2023 is a true and correct record. Would somebody like to move that recommendation?
I didn't attend, so I can't.
I will move that. I will move that motion. Do I have a seconder? Don't have a seconder. Trinity? She attended that meeting.
Our standing orders don't require a mover or a seconder for this motion. So you can just vote on it.
Great. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. No against, ka pai. Okay. Page 13. Chairperson and members report. The recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board note the February 2024 member report from Chairperson Chiki Rudkin, Deputy Chair Tanya Fair, members Trinity Edwards and GC McVeigh. I'll move that recommendation, seconded by GC McVeigh. Those in favour? Aye. Any against? Moving over to item 7.2 on page 24. Okay, and we have 7.2, establish a Kaikohe Ride for Life committee. The recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board uplift the establish a Ride for Life committee report and acknowledge the Kaikohe Ride for Life group will remain a working group. I'll move that recommendation. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Member McVeigh. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? Thank you. Moving on to item 7.2. Here, the, which is that one? 38, page 38. I see, that'll leave me too. 7.3, road naming, 43 Manning Street in Rawene. The recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board, pursuant to Council's naming policy, name a private road address at 43 Manning Street, Rawene, Kōrari Place. Do I have a mover for that? Thank you, Member McVeigh. A seconder? Thank you, Member Gundry. All those in favour? Discussion. Do we have any discussion? That's why I paused. No discussion. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? No. Bye. Okay. 7.3 are the funding reports. Is it 43? No, it's not 43. It's 42. 6.
Not the other one.
42. Hang on. This side. Okay, sorry, 7.4 funding, project funding reports. The recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board note the project report received from Kōreke Whānau Day. I'll move that recommendation. Do I have a seconder?
Yep.
Thank you. And that's carried. Oh, all those in favour? Aye. Carried. Okay, so moving on to 7.5 funding applications. And we'll move through those one at a time.
Summary.
46, page 46. So the first recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $2,500 plus GST, if any, be paid from the board's community fund account to Glass Ceiling Collective for the costs of the Spark Live show in the Kaikohe-Hokianga Board to meet the following community outcomes: communities that are healthy, safe, connected and sustainable, proud, vital communities. I'll move that recommendation. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Member McVeigh. Any discussion around that? All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? Carried. Thank you. The second recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $3,000 plus GST, if applicable, be paid from the board's community funds.
Excuse me, Chicky. She said she only needs $1,600 now, so you might want to move it just for the $1,600, not.
Perfect timing, Catherine.
I was like,
Great.
No, aroha mai, that wasn't for the hui waiata toy, that was for the last one.
Apologies, it's for the last one. Ignore me, sorry. Apologies.
This one.
Not the waiata
The
one.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was getting mixed up between the two. My apologies.
So that I'll rephrase that one. The recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $3,000 plus GST, if applicable, be paid from the board's community fund account to Hui Waiata Toi or Hokianga for the costs of the Hui Waiata Festival to meet the following community outcomes. 1, communities that are healthy, safe, connected and sustainable. 2, proud, vibrant communities. I'll move that. Seconded by Member Gundry. All those, any discussion? All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Any abstentions? Okay, carried. The third recommendation in the funding applications is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approves a sum of $2,500 plus GST if applicable be paid from the board's community fund account to Man vs Wild for the costs of the Man vs Wild fishing wānanga to meet the following community outcomes. 1, communities that are healthy, safe, connected and sustainable. 2, proud, vibrant communities. I'll move that recommendation. Seconded by Member McVeigh. Any kōrero, any discussion? All those in favour, please say aye. Any against? Any abstentions? No, carried. Fourth recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $7,000 plus GIST if applicable to be paid from the board's placemaking fund account to Okaiho Whānau House for the costs of fit out of the facility to meet the following community outcomes. Communities that are healthy, safe, connected and sustainable. 2, proud, vibrant communities. Do I have a mover for that?
Yeah.
Mover, Member Gundry. Do we have a seconder for that?
Can I find out more information?
I think they should turn up.
If we don't have a seconder, then the motion. It's just,
We can say that you can move to leave it to lie until the next meeting when they have the opportunity to come and answer questions.
yeah, I just think it's a significant amount of money for somebody not to turn up to talk to it.
Exactly.
I move that such an application be denied and the applicant be invited to get up, also reapply and turn up at the next meeting to explain themselves. So to provide an explanation rather than themselves.
So do you want to deny it or do you want to leave it to lie until the applicant has the opportunity to present?
Don't know the formal process, but I'm happy to leave it to lie, but
Well, it's
we must have to move the motion.
Well, actually, there was not a motion on the table, which I give back because there was no seconder. I'm providing this motion that we reapply and come in and talk.
I second that motion. Any discussion? No. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? Thank you. Carried. The next recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board approve the sum of $1,600 plus GIST if applicable to be paid from the board's community fund account to Toi Tangata for the costs of the Te Hotu Manawa Māori wānanga to meet the following community outcomes. 1, communities that are healthy, safe, connected and sustainable. 2, proud, vibrant communities. Do I have a move for that recommendation? Thank you, Member McVeigh. Do I have a seconder? Member Gundry, any kōrero about that? No, all those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? Carried. Thank you. That's funding applications done. Moving down to item 8.1, the Hokianga Ferry Liaison Group meeting on page 93. Okay. The Hokianga Ferry Liaison Group meeting 7th December 2023. The recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board receive the report. Hokianga Ferry Liaison Group meeting 7th of December 2023. I have a mover. Thank you, Member McVeigh. Do I have a seconder for that recommendation? Thank you, Member Gundry. Any questions? Aye, ordered or no? All those in favour, please say aye. Any against? Any abstentions? No. Okay. And moving on to 8.2, summary of applications. And that's on page 98, 97. 97? Yeah. So the recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board note the report summary of applications July to December 2023. Do I have a mover? Thank you, Member McVeigh. Seconder, thank you, Member Gundry. Any questions around that? No. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? And that's carried.
Through the chair, we're doing some more work on this ahead of your combined community board meeting. Last year, all three boards had 107 funding applications total. In the first 6 months of this financial year, there have been 118. Oh, yeah. So last year was 107 over the full 12 months. We're at 118 for the first 6.
And we've just about used all of the community grant.
Nearly.
Except for the placement.
Lotteries being reduced by 50%.
We've already
Lotteries
has said
so
their
hence
budget
people will be looking more to us.
Foundation have said they're coming down too.
That's unfortunate.
So might be some creative music.
That's good to know.
Yes. A little bit scary, but yeah.
Right, something we need to reconsider doing something about, eh? Right, item 8.3 is the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board February Open Resolution Report. That's on page 1. So the recommendation is that the Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board receive the report, Kaikohe-Hokianga Community Board February Open Resolution Report. Member McVeigh is moving that. Seconder. Thank you, Member Gundry. Any questions about that open resolution report? Okay, I'll move that motion. All those in favour? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? Carried. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for your attendance. Thank you to our staff that are here with us today and online, and to Member Edwards, who was online with us. Have a great day. Don't go and plant anything or fish. Apparently, the Maramataka is telling us.
But it was okay to button fishing. It was okay to roast.
Yes. Let's go to button fishing. Just don't do it yet.
Discuss fishing.
All right.
Close the meeting.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Harley. Can I please confirm?
Once the meeting is closed, we just want us to have a quick catch up with you about some of the stuff that was discussed.
Yes.